Coming in at number 14 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings, a teammate of a Senators prospect. So we got a couple extra viewings of Kashawn Aitcheson this season. He plays for the Barrie Colts, and when he plays, you notice every single time.
Ross, and this is a guy that's a lot of fun, and he has a great nickname. They call him Cash. So Cash with the Barrie Colts had a great season, 64 games, 26 goals, 33 assists, 59 points in 64 games for a defenseman. Pretty solid.
26 goals for a defenseman. Pretty solid.
Yeah, 88 PIMs plus 6, and then he kept the goals going in playoffs, Ross. 16 games, 6 goals, 6 assists. I mean, where do you want to start with Kashawn Aitcheson, Ross? Because there's so many parts of his game that fans, scouts, coaches, and teammates will all love.
I think we should start with where you left off in our mock draft, and no spoilers where Kashawn Aitcheson went, but your player comparable for him, I actually love. So why don't you get into why?
Yeah, maybe a bit of a stretch, but I compared him. How about I like this?
I don't think it's a stretch.
I like the term that EP has coined now, shades of, because the player comparable means you think they're going to become that player or they're going to have that career or whatever. So shades of Dion Phaneuf. I mean, think about Dion Phaneuf when he was a prospect, the double Dion. Yeah, like he was laying guys out. He had that heavy shot. He was one of the first kind of new age defensemen that were able to score at a pace like that when he started with Calgary. Was a big reason why a guy like Brian Burke wanted to bring him over to Toronto so bad. He plays that truculent type of game, and Kashawn Aitcheson is very similar. If you watched him with the Barrie Colts, if you watch highlights, he's throwing open ice hits. He's inviting attackers to come anywhere near him so he can level them. And a partnership of Aitcheson and Eliasson, that's when you're an opponent, you're like, coach, get me out there on a different line. I don't want to go up against these guys anymore, especially in a playoff series where you're playing multiple games up against them. And rare these days, especially in junior hockey, Ross, this guy's not afraid to chuck him. I saw one of his fights where he opened the fight off with a Superman punch. Like, he's going for it. He's so much fun. Whoever drafts this guy, the fan base is going to fall in love with him.
Not only are they going to fall in love with him for the kind of rambunctious style that he plays, but he also just seems like an awesome dude. Like, his sellies are all time. Boys love him. They're so fired up, whether he gets in a fight, throws a big hit, or scores a goal. He's also one of the oldest players in this draft class, September 2006. So much like with Carter Yakimchuk last year, he just needs one more year of junior hockey, and then he will be eligible to be in the American Hockey League. So you don't have to have that awkward situation where a year from now you're like, well, he's probably done everything he can do in the Ontario Hockey League. He's not quite ready for the NHL, and I don't know if his game is going to translate to college, which is the new opportunity. You want him playing against men and growing that physicality in a tough situation. He's a left shot defenseman, should note that. He's a 6'1", 199-pound defenseman. Corey Pronman, the highest on him, all the way at 11th overall in his rankings. Scott Wheeler has him at 13th on his. Craig Button and McKean's Hockey both at 15th on theirs. And then Elite Prospects at 18th. Our friends at Locked On NHL Prospects at 17. Bob McKenzie's midterms at 18. We're still waiting for his final rankings that should be coming out any day. One thing I love about the way he plays in the offensive zone in particular, and EP notes this as well, you can tell right from his highlights though, he doesn't score goals in that traditional one-timer way. He is, to me, going to be the perfect flank option shooter on a power play because he loves opening up and sliding in to get closer to the net before wiring that one-timer. So he's going to be a problem for goalies to read. You're not going to know exactly where he is. Got a bit of Jacob Chychrun in him from that sense, where he can either stop it up and take a wrister, or he'll just let that thing rip on the one-timer. So I just think he brings so many different elements to his game that a team's going to jump up. Like, I think he's appropriately ranked here at 14, right in the middle. I don't think he gets past Montreal at 15, 16. Those two picks, how could you not want to add
16,
a player
17,
like,
I think.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, and you look at, like, Calgary would love to have him, obviously. But I think that earlier in this first round, he could be one of those surprise names. There was even NHL scouts poll that came out, and some believe that he's the second best defenseman in this draft class after Matthew Schaefer. Radim Murka might want to have a word about that. Jackson Smith might want to have a word about that. But Kashawn Aitcheson, when you watch them play night in and night out, he's going to be the guy that catches scouts' attention for the most different reasons. And I think that's going to be really attractive to a team who takes a swing on him.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I will say, Ross, is if he's going to play on the power play, I almost feel like you should play him as the fourth forward on a power play, not as the defenseman quarterbacking it.
Right. Sliding down like where Chychrun stands.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Because Pronman mentioned he doesn't think he can facilitate a power play. He doesn't necessarily have those high decision-making abilities, and he's not someone that maybe you want carrying the puck up the ice every single power play. Not that he can't do it, but I just think when he gets to the pros, I think he would be a lot better as a right flank shooter on a second power play unit rather than being the guy that it cycles through at the top of the umbrella. But he certainly got a shot for that. But Ross, on the flip side of that, Wheeler mentions he is strong on the PK, willing to block shots, plays that energetic game, being aggressive towards other teams' power plays. So I think you could see him being on a top penalty kill unit and being a shooter on a second power play unit.
I think a team is going to love getting him, and I wish it was the Ottawa Senators. I would even break my don't draft a left shot defenseman rule for this guy. I think that he's special. I think that he's got a little bit of something that nobody else has. Out of all defensemen in the Ontario Hockey League this season, only 2 had more goals than Kashawn Aitcheson's 26. Those 2 prospects, Sam Dickinson and Zane Parekh.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then neither of those guys are fighting the way that he is. Neither of those guys are laying the body the way that he is. And the fact that he can defend pretty decently as well. The one thing he's got to work on, I think, is transitioning the puck. You mentioned it, not going to be the guy that carries it up. Well, that's a pretty important part of being a defenseman. You're going to have to get yourself out of trouble, break forechecks, and work that way.
Pair him with the guy that can do that, Ross, right? And I think you end up in a really good situation.
How many Sens stars for Kashawn Aitcheson?
Keep in mind, neither me nor Ross, or I think anyone in the scouting community, thinks Aitcheson will make it to 21. I got him at 4.5 stars, though, because this is the type of player you want in your system. Go read Scott Wheeler's feature on him in The Athletic. Comes from humble beginnings and was never really kind of a shoe-in to be a top prospect, but he put the work in. He had opportunities to, elevate the people that he was working with. I believe he could have worked with Gary Roberts as a trainer, but he said, no, I'm sticking with my guys that got me here. And he kept with his trainers and worked hard in the gym and things like that. So you get that loyalty aspect too. The guys love him. Cash seems like such a fun guy to be around. So I'm with you, Ross. I would also break my rule of being like, hey, we can't draft any more big left shot defensemen. This guy is special. So 4.5 stars for me. The half star off being he won't be there and he's a left shot guy. But if he was available for the Sens and they took him, I'd be stoked.
He's such a Sens type prospect too. So it's just like, make it happen. You know,
and he played with Eliasson, so they would have seen him.
Yeah, they would have seen him a ton. Kashawn Aitcheson with an average ranking of 15.28 comes in on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings at 14th overall. You can find all of our prospect profiles available on YouTube.